So you've probably heard the saying that how you do one thing is how you do everything, but I don't think many people fully explain where that comes from and what that actually means. But this is something that I've been thinking about for quite a while now. It's something that I've been figuring out, and I've been going through these stages where I've been doing everything, I've been on board, I've been doing everything that I can, and all my habits and all the right things were in place. And there's been times where everything has collapsed and I'm doing absolutely nothing and I can't do a certain thing and every habit is completely gone. And so the saying is very, very true for me, and I understand it quite well because I've had these really large swings, and I think that quite a lot of people do. So in this video, I'm going to talk about exactly what this saying means, exactly why it matters to you, and exactly what you can do about this so that you can make sure that you are staying on track, doing all of your habits, making sure that you're growing your business, and you're going to be disciplined enough to actually do the things you're supposed to do. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners to save thousands and thousands of hours by sometimes even doing their outreach for them so they can start to work on the agency rather than working in the agency. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this happened to me about 6 months ago, where I all of a sudden started to fade away from the diet plan that I was on, my intermittent fasting, and I started to eat food in the mornings, and I was having, more meals a day than I should have, and I was eating foods that I didn't really want to. And it's not just a case that when you stop your intermittent fasting, you just start to eat more healthy foods in the morning and stuff like that, and your gym sessions are just as long and you have just as many good ones. What was starting to happen was I was starting to eat in the morning, so I was, breaking my intermittent fast from the very first time that I woke up. There was no extended period of fasting at all, but I wasn't eating the normal foods. I was of course eating cereal and stuff that I would never normally eat. And then all of a sudden I was going from 4 or 5 workouts a week to down to 2, sometimes even 1. I wasn't going for runs. I was doing all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden what I started to notice is the time that I was waking up was starting to increase. The amount of effort that I put into my business was starting to decrease. The amount of effort that I put into my sales calls was started to decrease. And every observable metric was starting to fall negatively. And this isn't all a big coincidence. This isn't all, it just happens that all these different metrics go in swings and roundabouts and all that kind of stuff. No, they all move in sync. And so when one starts to drop, they all start to drop. And this happens for literally everything. So this is about the time that you wake up. This is about how much effort you put into your relationships. This is how much you focus on your business. This is how much you go to the gym. This is literally everything. And what I was starting to realize is that it is basically all connected. And now the science behind this, I'm not a scientist, but the reason this happens is because your brain doesn't know the difference between you focusing on reading a book, you focusing on working on your business, you focusing on improving your relationships or your diet or anything like that. Your brain just sees a task and it sees you not doing the task to the best of your ability. It doesn't know the difference between you working on the business and you giving up on your diet. And so this is a lot of times why when you see very successful people, they're often very in shape. They have a lot of other habits that are going for them as well. So, they're not only working out quite a lot, they're doing well in their business. They have other hobbies. They might have, wrote a few books, all that kind of stuff. And it's not a coincidence at all because they have conquered their habits and they've made sure that they're actually doing the right things day by day. And this is the same. And they very much live up to the saying that how they do one thing is how they do everything. And there's not one part of their life that they really neglect. And this is why it's a bit of a myth that you can just focus on your business and not focus on your health. You can just focus on your business and, seclude yourself from society, not have any relationships and stuff like that. They all feed into one another. If there's something that you care about, which basically all humans do, which is relationships and, having a partner and, most people care about health and want to be healthy in some capacity. If you're neglecting these things and trying to focus on your business instead, for example, everyone wants to sleep 8 hours a day. There's no one that doesn't want to sleep. If you are purposely giving yourself 5 hours of sleep so that you can work extra on the business and, I'll just focus on the business and I'm not going to care about my sleep, because you are not focusing on your sleep, it means you're not going to fully be able to focus on your business. And you might think that you can do it. And the whole argument about, not having enough sleep so that means that you physically can't focus on the business is a whole other thing. But from a mental aspect, you are disregarding parts of your life and you're being sloppy in certain areas. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have that capacity to actually go and focus on the things that you want. What it actually does mean is that you're slowly going to start to lose different things. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. Once they start to get a bit sloppy with certain things, they're not doing, they're not focusing as much on their sales calls, they're not focusing much on their business, they are, lack of focus on their diet. It's quite a fast trend towards everything just going negative at this point, and there's no real focus on anything. And people also think as well that if you are focusing on too much, you're sort sort of spreading yourself thin. And I'm not talking about having like loads of different projects, like having a business and a podcast and an e-commerce store and all this kind of extra stuff. But I'm talking about everything that you do and that you actually commit yourself to, just making sure that you do it to the best of your ability. Now, there's a very famous book by Jordan Peterson called 12 Rules for Life. Most people have probably read this. If you haven't, you definitely should. But there's a rule in there where he talks about treating yourself as if you were someone who you were actually looking after. And the general idea behind this, as he talks about it in quite a lot of his lectures, is to just do the things yourself first. And so he always talks about clean your room, right? And so there's a lot of people, for example, who want to change the world. They want to do big things. They want to create big businesses and all this kind of stuff. And there's quite a lot of it's tied to like a lot of political things as well. People that want to, change things politically, but they can't actually clean their room. Their room is still a mess. And the idea is that not physically, maybe their room is a mess, but they haven't sorted themselves out first before they've gone on to do bigger and better things. And the idea with this that I really like about this is that you can't grow a business unless you are eating properly, unless you are actually working out properly, unless you are sleeping properly. All these little things, if you can't do those, then how on earth are you going to run a business? And this really resonates with me a lot, because as soon as you start to lose those basic things, as soon as you can't clean your room, as you can't look after yourself, as soon as you can't do these like very basic things, the expectation to sort of disregard your sleep, the most basic thing in the world, and to start eating unhealthily, and then all of a sudden you're going to grow a 7-figure business and you're going to make more money than the 0.01% of the world. It doesn't really add up, and it sounds bonkers when you say it like that. I'm not going to focus on the basic stuff, and I'm going to focus on the really, really advanced stuff. But if you think about life as a pyramid and the orders of things that you need, of course, this is basically just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You need that sort of base physiological stuff first. You need to have good sleep. You need to have good food. You need to have shelter, all that kind of stuff. You need to have a good relationship before you can go and start to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You're going from the very bottom and skipping all these steps and going to the very top. It's like that meme where that guy's like stepping over like 12 steps just to get to the very top, and he's like ignoring all the steps before. If you are not sleeping well, if you are not eating well, if you are not even, you don't have any friends or relationships, or you don't speak to anyone on a daily basis, and you just focus on your business all the time, and you're focusing on team building and SOP building, all that kind of stuff, you just missed hundreds and hundreds of steps there on how to actually get to this point, and you think you're just going to go straight to the top, and it's not going to work. To be honest with you, it's not going to work. And so this is why, if you start to neglect the basic stuff, if you start to neglect your diet, you start to get your sleep, your health, your relationships, then there's no possible chance that you are ever going to get to that point where you truly want to, which is maybe 7 figures, maybe just 10k per month or something like that, without actually taking those first initial steps. By the way, if you are looking for someone to sign clients for you on a done-for-you basis, go ahead and click the first link in the description. We're not going to be asking for your email or your phone number or sending you a bunch of text or anything like that. Literally, it's just a video of me explaining how my company does this on a done-for-you basis. You don't have to watch it, of course. You can just literally watch this content, and that's completely fine. But if you did enjoy these videos, then go ahead and click the like button. Obviously, comment if you want me to cover anything specifically down below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Appreciate you watching this one to the end. Cheers.